Hi everyone, I'm Jesse at StroPro.com, and today I'm going to be showing you the new Godox FH50 LED series. Now you might notice that this panel is flexed, and that's because this is a completely flexible panel and it's available in two different versions. We have the bicolor version and we also have an RGB version. Plus we have a number of powering options and accessories that can go with this. So let's take a closer look at what the FH50 is all about. Why would you want your LED light to be flexible? Well, it's kind of like having barn doors without having barn doors. I can flex this into whatever position I want. I can go vertical, I can go horizontal. I can even turn it back this way and widen out that beam of light to cover more of my subject. So I can also prevent lens flare really easily by just bringing one side in. If I want to control highlights on my subject, really easy, just flex in a corner and you're good to go. The other nice thing about this is you can see that it's just so thin. Being thinner than my finger, that saves a lot of weight and allows us to put this in some unique positions. I could actually just gaff tape this right to a wall or to a ceiling. Obviously, I probably wouldn't have the battery panel on it, but if I plug the AC adapter in, there's really no added weight to it at all. There's a number of different ways that we can order the FH50. So as I said before, we have two different versions to choose from. So that's what you want to decide first, whether you want to go with the bicolor, or if you want the ultimate flexibility to create any color that you want, then you can go with the RGB version. We're going to go through an unboxing in a minute, but the powering options for these are a little bit unique. So default with either version of the light, you are going to get an AC adapter. So that is just going to plug into the wall, and then you're going to get just a little stand spigot, and it's going to connect right on there. Now on here, I have a different accessory. This is the battery powered option, and that comes in this little kit here, which is the MLAK. And what you're going to get in this kit is basically this grip right here. And that's going to attach, you see this plug here, it plugs in, and then you put two NP750 or 960 batteries on the front of this, and this gives you the ability to hand hold this. You can also put it on a stand right here. You also have this little flip out guy where you can set it right there. So we make the different variants available for you on the website, so whether you just want to get it on its own with the AC adapter or pick up the MLAK kit, and then you can decide on batteries as well, whether you want to get two NP750s with the charger. Another thing you can choose when purchasing your LED light is the FS50 softbox. This is a softbox with a diffuser that'll go right over the LED, plus you also have a grid that comes with it as well. And I'm going to show you all about this in just a minute. Let's unbox the FH50. I'm going to unbox the R version, which is the RGB. The bicolor is the same size. It looks identical. The only thing you're going to notice to actually tell them apart is the chipset on the front, the actual LEDs themselves. You'll notice a bit of a difference, and then just the menu system on the back. But everything in here is going to come with the bicolor as well. So I'll pull that out, and right away you see that you get a really nice carrying bag with this. I think this is great that Godox is doing this now with some of their nicer little LED panels. Just a nice way to keep everything contained here, so when you throw it back in the car, it's not all over the place. So I'll just take this stuff out kind of one at a time here. So here we have the actual light itself, and as I mentioned before, this thing is completely flexible, so really hard to damage it when it can flex like that, which is really nice. You can see just how thin that is right away, and there's our control panel on the back. And as I mentioned before, those little LEDs, so they just look a little different because you have the RGB. So it's kind of like a star pattern here with those chips on there. The bicolor just looks a little bit different. There's not as many. So as I mentioned previously, the power option that you're going to get with this is an AC adapter. And that's just going to plug directly into the back of the light and then into the wall. So you'll have the actual power brick here, and then there's actually another piece for that, if I can Grab it. Here's the actual plug, and Godox gives you a really nice long plug here, and they put that strap on there to tie it back up. And we have our manual if you want that. It's in there as well. And just to show you really quick, we have different pockets right here. It's nice and padded, so everything fits in there really nicely. The last thing I want to show you is this little piece. And if you have an AD200 Pro, you might recognize this. It's basically the same little piece that attaches to the AD200 Pro. And this is just going to go on the bottom and allow us to connect that to a stand. So I'll show you how to do that right now. To attach the stand adapter is really easy. You're going to notice this 1/4" thread at the top, and there is a wheel here that slides so we can easily attach that. There's 2 little grooves there that line up to the grooves on the bottom. So you can put this on either side. Generally, I would probably put it on the right side. So line that up and then just use the thumb wheel here and start spinning that into place. Once it gets tight, you don't have to over tighten it, but you want it secure there. You can use both fingers and lock it in place. And now we're ready to attach it to the stand. So just back off this thumb screw. You can put it directly on the stand here and crank it down. Now the tilt, if you want to control the tilt on your stand, that's this knob right here. So just loosen that off and you can control that wherever you want. And one other thing I just wanted to mention is that this actually has an umbrella screw right here. So you can actually diffuse this LED with an umbrella if you want. Just slide the umbrella through and then you can tighten it down. From there, it's really easy. All you're going to do is take your AC power right here, plug it into the side. So that'll go right into the side there. And then obviously plug this end in here and then into the wall. And like I said, you have a really long cable, so you can basically stretch this to wherever you want. Now let me show you how you connect the battery power if you decided to pick up that option. If you decide to get the MLAK battery adapter kit, you're going to get a few things that come with that. So we have the battery plate itself, we have the handle, and then we have the power cable. So I'm just going to show you quickly how to attach all of those. So on the handle itself right here, you're going to see these 3 metal, they're kind of like little studs there. Those correspond to the back of the battery plate. And what you're going to do is just line them up, kind of like you would do with a picture frame, where you have that larger opening in the bottom, and then you just slide it down and it's going to lock into place. Now on the top right here, that's the release. So if you pull that and slide it down, that's what takes that off. So if you don't actually want this handle on, you can still battery power your light. And it does have like a belt clip if you wanted to put it like that. You could get a bigger cable if you wanted to as well. But this is the way that we're going to show it right here. So this, instead of the other handle that we had, this is what's going to attach to the light stand. So just drop on just like we did before and tighten it down, and we'll do that in a second. But we want to connect our cable first. This cable actually has 2 different ends. The one end here has a little lock system on it. So that's going to go into the top here, and it's got a little kind of description, and you just turn it into the lock position. So once that cable is in, just make sure, oh, I didn't do it quite far enough, turn it and it'll lock into place so that won't pull out. From there, what you're going to want to do is add some batteries. Now, if you already have some Sony NP style batteries, you can use those. We sell 2 different versions at StroPro. So we sell the 750 and also the 960, 970 batteries. And you're going to want 2 of those, and they just attach to the front right here. So you start on the top and then just slide it down. It's going to lock into place. To remove that, this is the button right here, so we can push this and pop it up. So we'll just put both of those batteries on real quick. And this comes as a kit in the options on this light. So you would get 2 batteries and the charger if you choose the battery kit. So 1 battery on, second battery, just line up, slide down, and now we're good to connect this to the light. On here, if you push this down and click it, you can actually see the battery power. So this is a release switch, and it's also your battery indicator. It'll show you how much charge you have with these little lit up LEDs right there. So let's just take this the same way that we did before. We have that thumb screw, and I'll put it on the bicolor light here this time. And it's going to be easier if you just kind of set that down or attach it to your stand. And all I'm doing here, just tightening that 1/4 inch stud there until it gets secure. And there we go. Make sure those grooves are locked into place. And again, this still has the umbrella mount there. But all we're going to do is take that other end of the cable, plug it right in. We have our tilt over here with a handle. So again, we can make sure you're grabbing onto that before you loosen it. Otherwise, it's going to flop down, but you can control the handle that way and just lock it into place. Put it on the light stand here. And then we are ready to power on with battery power. So there you go, 2 different options, the AC that it comes with, or if you want to make this mobile, you have the battery option as well. Let's take a look at the optional Godox FH50 softbox for these LED panels. Now, why would you want a softbox? This light is actually quite soft to begin with because we have a large surface area here. It's going to be generally soft, but it will create pinpoint kind of little lights from the LED chips here. And you would most notice those if you were shooting something that's metal or very reflective. You will see them in the eyes a little bit. So if you were doing portrait or something and that was an issue for you, then pick up the softbox and that's really going to help out. So let me open up this and attach it and show you what that's about. Okay, let's assemble this softbox, and before I do that, I do just want to mention that when you assemble the softbox and have it attached, you are going to lose the ability to flex this all over the place because this softbox is rigid. Now you do get a grid with that, which is included in the kit, so you do have some ability to control the light, but just be aware with the softbox on, you will lose that flexibility option. In the bag, we have a few different pieces here. So if we slide this out, we have our diffuser, we have the actual softbox right here, and then you will also have your grid. So let's put this thing on. So this softbox is actually completely joined except on one side. So I think it's easier probably if you just line that up there, Velcro it, and then we can attach the softbox on the stand. You can do this off the stand. It's really not that hard, but this is just a little bit easier. So these tabs are all the same except the bottom one here. So you have these long ones, the 3 there, and then this one is separated. That's for the control panel. So what you want to do, if you go over to the front of it here, I'll just get this wrapping around. Okay, so once we have it like that, what you can do is just flip up that Velcro tab, and they kind of fit right between our corner protections, so it's actually really nice to line those up. We'll do the sides here, and then just the top. So just make sure they're nice and secure, and there you have the softbox, the majority of it installed. So you could use it like that if you wanted to kind of use this as barn doors, but most of you are probably going to be wanting to use that with the diffuser. So let's take our diffuser now and attach that. With the diffuser, we are going to attach this to the inside part of the Velcro here. That will leave us room to attach the grid if we want it. And as I open this, you can see that there's a way that this folds. I find it a little bit easier just to have the fold on the inside so we can flatten this out. It is a little bit tight, so this will just help with that. So basically you're just going to kind of stretch it corner to corner. I find it the easiest way to do, and then kind of push that into the corner, and it's not going to be perfect the first time, don't worry about it. So kind of attach it and then pull the other side here, and it's a little bit awkward where I'm standing, but just stretch it out again. and then we can take that, stretch it, and just do the same thing all along. If I was setting this up to use, maybe it'd take a little bit more time, but you can get the point. You just want to attach it, and if you've left any like gaps or anything that you can see, just go and push them in, or if you have to readjust something, it's Velcro, so really easy to do, and that'll fit nice and tight there. So now we'll attach the grid. The grid is going to attach to the outside portion of the Velcro. So we'll just unfold this guy here, and you want to just find the corners of it, and you'll be able to see the corners because there is a little notch. Have the notch going on the outside, it just helps flex around it. So same thing we did before, just stretch it across and then attach it and go along and just tack it into place. So why would you want this grid? This is going to help you control spill. So this could be spill going into your lens, it could be spill on your subject. It basically just isolates that beam a little bit more, prevents the light from spreading out where you don't want it to. So you throw a grid on here, and that's just going to give you a little more control over the light. And I just kind of did that fairly sloppily there, but you get the point here. Just fill in any gaps, and now we have our grid attached for ultimate control. But just remember, you don't want to go around flexing this light with this assembled now. Keep it in this position and you are good to go. Here's the complete overview of the menu system for the FH50 bicolor. If you happen to have the R version, which is the RGB, you can just skip ahead in the chapter to that point, and there's a few differences in that menu system, so take a look at that one. Okay, so we have our power button just down here, so if you're plugged into AC power or on battery, you would just hit this power button, and that is going to bring everything to life. Now the thing I like about the FH50, it's very simple to control. You have two main dials here. So one is going to control the power, and then one will control the functions essentially. So this top dial right off the bat, because we have the bicolor version, this is going to adjust our color temperature, which is represented in Kelvin here. So this will go all the way down to 2800 degrees Kelvin, which is a very warm yellow type light. And it will go all the way up to 6500 degrees on the cool side. So you have a really wide range there, which is really nice. So you can accurately match your ambient temperatures if you want. To control the power, just in its basic form, is just this lower knob here. And you can see that we can adjust this in 1% increments. That'll go all the way up to 100%. And then it will actually go all the way down to 0 or 1% here, which is nice because a lot of other lights will only be able to go down to 10%. The great thing about the FH50 is that everything I'm showing you here can also be controlled from your smartphone if you download the Godox Light app, and we have a separate video which we'll link in the description below. To enable Bluetooth, we actually need to go down and change the mode, and I'll show you that in a second, but we have one other function here. If I click the mode button, we have our special effects. And we can rotate through the different effects here with the top dial. And we can see we've got candlelight, a campfire, this one's fireworks. There's a bunch of different ones that you have there. And what you can do is you can go down here, and that will still control the power, but if we click it, or sorry, click the top one here, that will control the speed of that effect. So as I increase it, it'll rotate through that effect faster, or you can slow it down all the way down to 1 here. So once you're ready, you can just lock that and get out of there. We can change our mode again, back to CCT, back to special effects, and then we have just our power dial right here to control that as needed. Now, as I mentioned, this is Bluetooth enabled, so you'll see the little wireless symbol down here. If I hold this button or this dial, we have a number of things. So this first little Bluetooth area there, that's the MAC address for this light. And we can rotate between all of our different settings in here, but the one I'm concerned about is this one. I can rotate it to reset, or I can rotate it to off. Off has no Bluetooth connection. If you're having trouble connecting to the app, you would just go to reset here, and then click the button. It's going to reset the Bluetooth, and you should be able to connect back to the phone. You'll notice that we also have a wireless symbol here. This light can be connected to an optional controller. I don't really recommend that anymore because you do have the free smartphone app that you can have even greater control. But if you do want that, or you have an old one, you can just go into the menu here. That will log out of there if you leave it too long. Rotate to wireless here, and then just turn it to on. And then you can see up there, we can set our channel. Rotate to whatever channel you want. We can set our group, and we can actually set an ID as well. If you are setting that, just make sure that the ID is set to off, or you match it to your controller, because a lot of people forget to turn that off. And that's really all there is to this menu system, guys. Pretty easy. So again, just the basic 3 modes here. So we have our color temperature control, and then we have our special effects setting right here, and then we have the ability to, I guess it's not another mode, but we can actually change the speed of those special effects there as needed. So there you go. That's everything you need to know about the FH50 bicolor menu system. This is an overview of the FH50R, which is the RGB, and I'm going to go through the entire menu system here. If you have the bicolor version, you can just click that in the chapter. Everything that the bicolor has, the RGB version has as well, with a few more modes and options. So to power this light on, really simple. There's just a power button down here. Just push that. And in its very basic mode here, we are in CCT color temperature mode here, which allows us to adjust the color temperature. And you can see it changing there all the way down to 2500. And then on the high end, so 2500 is going to be very warm, and this will go all the way up to 10,000. So you have a wider range on the RGB version here. The top end on the bicolor only goes to 65. That's just because you have more flexibility because of these LED chips here. So that's how we control the color temperature, and this bottom dial here we just use to control the power, and this will obviously go all the way up to 100%, and then it will go all the way down to 1%, which is really nice because you can fine-tune this. A lot of other lights will only go to 10%, which can cause issues sometimes being too much light. You'll notice something else that we have there, which is the GN. That's a green magenta shift, so we can actually go in and control that by clicking it and then rotating. We can control the color tint. So if you really want to fine tune this light to match something else, you think a certain 50 or 65 here has too much of green or magenta, you can just adjust it as necessary. So -50 to +50. I would recommend just leaving that at 0 though if you don't need to adjust it. This bottom dial here is our mode button as well. So if I click that, we'll flip into the next mode, which is really the highlight of this light being RGB. This is HSI mode. This will allow us to select essentially any RGB color, and we do that with the top dial again. And you can just dial in whatever color you want. I'll turn up the power a little bit so you can see the colors changing here. So we can go from red to greens to blues, purples, whatever you want. And you can set that all the way up to, what is it, 360, I believe? Yeah, 360 different points of color. We can also control the saturation. So if I click that top dial here and then I want to desaturate that, say it's just a little too intense, I can soften that out, control the saturation for whatever color I've chosen, and just flip and go back to whatever color you choose. Normally I like to leave that saturation up at 100%, then you're just getting the most vibrant colors there, so we can leave it there. Now I would recommend downloading the Godox Light app. We have a separate video linked below. Everything I'm doing here you can do on the Light app wirelessly, and it's actually a lot easier just to do on your smartphone. It's available for Google or Android and for Apple phones, so be sure to download that and watch that video. Flipping to the next mode now. This is our special effects. Right now we're just on a cycling RGB, but we can flip through all the different effects. And one of the differences between the bicolor is you will have more special effects because we have the ability of RGB to basically create any color we want. Just like the bicolor version, if I click this, we can go down and control the speed of that effect. So this is a candle. If I want that candle to flicker faster, bring it all the way up to 100. If I want to slow it down, it's just too much for me, I can go all the way down to 1. So you can play around with those, and again, those are also available on the app. So just rotate through and you can select whichever ones that you want. So we'll just bring the power back down so we're not overexposing too much. And if I click that again, we are just going to go back to our color temperature, our CCT mode. And I want to show you how to connect to Bluetooth now. Down here on the mode dial, we also have a wireless symbol. Now if I hold this dial down, we're going to flip up into Bluetooth. That's showing our MAC address, so that will populate into the app once we're connected. But we can also change that as well. So I'm just going to click it. Oh, sorry, rotate the bottom one. So we have reset. If you're having trouble connecting to Bluetooth or to the app, just reset it there. It'll basically start everything over and you should be able to connect. Or I can turn it off completely. Now you see we do have a wireless mode here as well. This is to connect with an optional wireless controller. I don't really recommend this. You have much more functionality on your smartphone app. But if you do have an older controller or for some reason you still want a controller, you can certainly do that. It will time out as you saw there, so just hold the button and rotate down and we can turn wireless on. Then we can select our channel, whatever channel it is, go to our group, select our group, and then we can also turn an ID. If you do select an ID here, just make sure you select the matching ID on the controller as well. And again, that is an optional controller, but everything we've done here, like I said, is available on that Bluetooth app. So we can just click out of there and we're back. Most of the time, you're just going to be using it here, adjusting the power, the color temperature. Flip to the color temperature. Here's our color temperature. And we can go to, again, our HSI, and it's easy to select those colors in the app. So there you have it. That's everything you need to know about the Godox FH50 flexible LED lights. Pick up either the bicolor version or the RGB version. Both come with the standard AC adapter, but you can pick up the optional battery kit or the optional softbox as well. This light is truly flexible in more ways than one. I'm Jesse at StrodePro.com. Enjoy creating.